Welcome everybody to this 5-6 playoff between Germany and Singapore in the mixed division. This game represents the culmination of years of preparation for the athletes on these two teams. And everybody likes to finish a tournament on an odd number with a win. My name's Cole Fink, and joining me in the commentary box for this game is Katie Locke. Welcome, Katie.
Thank you, Cole, and welcome to everybody on the stream who's tuning in from wherever you are in the world, whether that be Singapore, Germany, or somewhere else. Here we see a matchup that we don't really know a lot about, in terms of that Singapore and Germany are not traditional powerhouses in Ultimate, and they reign from different regions in the world, so they don't get to play each other a lot. So it'll be interesting to see how these two teams fare against each other, particularly having vastly different climates that they're used to training in.
They certainly are. Singapore, obviously a very warm and humid place. Germany, on the other hand, often very cold in the winter. And both these countries are growing in stature very quickly in regards to their prowess in the game of Ultimate. Singapore have had a truly incredible growth in the last couple of years. Coming into this game, Singapore lost to the USA 15-5, and Germany lost to Japan 15-8. So that's how they got knocked out of quarters. And here we go now for this 5-6 playoff. Singapore pulling to the Germans. And that pull landing out of bounds. The Germans electing to take it from the brick mark.
Singaporean defense sitting up in a zone early on. Good to see utilization of the zone coming back. Our last bit's game, we saw very little zone.
So, Bernal with the disc here. I think we've noticed a bit more zone in the mixed game than we do typically in the single gender. And I think that's a strategy designed to try to create mismatches downfield. We can see the Singaporeans using their women up the front here, doing a very good job setting up a wall. And the Germans looking for a way through. Out to Bernal again. Jacobson, the Spirit captain, and we've got a turn.
Singapore having a very short field to work with. However, being on the sideline, they need to be careful not to try cram it in the chrome hole, as they say, and clutter their end zone. But we can see that they've set their stack over quite far on an angle to try and create a lot of space to work with. And there has been a travel called, but no stoppage. The players continue to make waves as we swing around, getting the handler movement between Lee and Sharma. Ing with the disc now. Ing and Sharma working together.
Travel is not a stoppage, so just quickly redress the position and continue play.
Ing and Sharma making sure that they're...
And now we have had a stoppage.
Yes. There's a bit of discussion between Sharma and his mark. Hartig from Germany, and Sharma to Lee.
Now the Germans looked like they were sleeping on defense there, Katie. They just let that cut out the open side, and they looked at each other after the score as if to say, what are we doing? So the Singaporeans leaped to an early break, and that puts them in good stead for the rest of this game, because they're now coming out on defense again, this time with the wind predominantly behind them.
Yes, they'll make a chance for a double break a lot easier than otherwise, with this strong down upwind motion that we have coming through Perth today. And similar to how it has been the last couple of days, so there has been some days with a bit more crosswind, you know, with teams trapping on one sideline where the disc is blowing up to.
Yeah, we can see the flags in the background of this shot here. You can see the Perth flag waving proudly, and it's blowing very much right to left, which is the same direction that it's been blowing all weekend, really, all week, I should say, as the Germans come out for their second offensive point. And they've uncorked Jonas Beck, and it's D'd expertly by James Poe.
Oh, great layup bit there by Poe to save a flying early disc. He's trying to find the dump. He's got Lee, and he swings around with forehand to Lee. It's just too far. Germans get another crack at offense.
So, oh, that's a nice looking upwind strike, and it's brought in. Levin Widenroth is the goal scorer. The thrower, I believe, was number 7, Malte Vosch.
And that's now equalised our scores.
So the Germans, after a very nervous looking opening point, where they coughed up the disc quickly and then let the Singaporeans march in for the score, have at least managed to hold that crucial upwind point, and they have the opportunity to force a turn here on the Singaporeans, who will now be moving it upwind. The Germans, of course, with a pretty significant height advantage across most of this roster over the Singaporeans, though the Singaporeans do have a couple of tall players, Katie.
Yes, and it is some challenge that the Asian countries often pose when they're facing their European, North American or Australasian counterparts, is the height disadvantage, particularly the Japanese, but they find that they can expertly work through that with quick movement and smart decision making.
Let's see if the Singaporeans can do the same.
The pull goes out of bounds at the back of the end zone on the full. Had the Singaporean handler electing to take it from the brick mark. Meanwhile, if that had rolled out of the end zone after landing infield, he would take it from the front of the end zone instead. Appears as though Singapore are being attacked by a German zone here.
They've got Saskia Ducho at the front, and it looks like she's going to form a fence with a couple of assistants, and they'll be looking to try to force the Singaporeans to make a lot of throws. That's a nice look through the middle.
Yes, with Chia through to Bunhu. Back to Chia. She has options to swing, but that's on the side that the Germans try to force to. Singapore taking nice considered options here, faking the huck, but not electing to take it, playing nice and safe, knowing that possession is what's going to keep them in this game. Finding gaps.
Nice look through the gap,
yeah,
Katie.
Great look through traffic there from Yi Hong. Swinging around to Tan. Yi Hong with the disc. The Singaporean offensive line really cautious and considered. Probably, like I said, taking a leaf out of the Japanese page. Great movement here between Yi Hong and Bunhui, along with Chia.
Stray drink bottle making its way towards the play, so hopefully that doesn't interfere with anyone. One of the Singaporean players trying to kick it off the field. Maybe she should just keep her focus on the game.
Yeah, probably.
Singaporeans have made a lot of throws here, Katie.
They really have, and they have not made a single turn yet, not a single error. Oh, until now, commentators curse. The wind just pushing that just a little bit too far. The Germans go straight to Huck. And there's a turn again, undoing all of that hard work.
So it must have taken 40 or 50 throws to make it that far up the field, and the Germans undo all that for the Singaporeans with a single huck. And Meg Goldbush was the intended receiver, but the throw did not sit out for her, so she's now back in the fence at the front of this zone, which the Singaporeans have all the work to do again to get through.
They're working so well through there, though. So much patience. The Germans aren't really putting them under too much pressure. They do look very cool in this zone. They don't have to use overhead throws, knowing that their players just don't have that height match on the Germans.
So the Germans running a V zone rather than a traditional cup that forces in one direction. This zone is designed to stop forward progress. The mark forces straight up and gets directly in front of the disc. And then there's a wing on either side of that zone attempting to, oh, that's a nice move through the middle from the Singaporeans. They've got lovely touch on their throws.
Oh, just a little fumble on the sideline there. Germans get another crack at offense. Faking the huck, opting for the safer swing. No mark on.
Here's Goldbush again.
Oh, and we have a Singaporean player down in the lane. I don't have eyes on who that is, but there must have been a collision.
So ultimate, obviously a non-contact sport. Collisions downfield generally occur when two players are moving but unaware of each other. And looks to me like that's what's happened.
Ong Yi Hong, the Singaporean player, down, but claps hands with the German player. He's okay, just a little shaken. No injury called.
So Goldbush and Wunderlich working together here. And Wunderlich's throw gets a bit too much air underneath it. Quite a few different people with an opportunity to snag it, but it's hit the grass, and the Singaporeans are back on offense. Not for long, though.
We're really griping with the commentator's curse today, aren't we? Germans back on offense again.
Through Gears. Gears across to Wunderlich. I'm expecting to see a few layouts from Wunderlich. His jersey is very dirty. Looks like he's spent a bit of time horizontal. And that's a great look to the end zone, and well read by number 12, Ellen Jacobson, the spirit captain of this team. She was careful to keep her feet in bounds. And the Germans have managed to force a break back on the Singaporeans with the assistance of the wind. And the score now is 2-1 to Germany. We're back on serve. So, this has been an enjoyable match so far, and tactically an interesting one. We've seen a few different defensive looks. And the Singaporeans very nearly managed to crack through the German V zone there. And unfortunately a turnover right on the end zone line for them. And the Germans were able to scoop it up. And with a bit of a hiccup in the middle, get it down the other end for a score to Jacobson.
Singaporeans looking offensively very strong on that point. A little slow to set up the defense though, which gave the Germans and their big throws the power advantage to get up in that break. Singapore with a chance to go downwind on offense.
So big pull from Jonas Baumler, the captain of this German outfit.
Germany set it up in their V zone again. Moving it through their handler group. Poe with the disc. He finds a great gap through to Sue. Back to Poe. Got some hands deep from the receiver. He's trying to make himself known as a threat. Probably not an option if the Singaporean team keep up their clean, clinical offense. Oh, but he takes it! He takes it! Oh, and it's just a little bit too far for her.
He actually had a wide open shot if he'd seen it to the opposite corner to number 66, Gito, who was open. And unfortunately, he didn't see that option available and took a more risky shot across field. And no fault of his receiver, that was an uncatchable pass. So now the Germans with an opportunity to try to break again. Nice jink from Jonas Baumler to get open. Germans running a pretty traditional three-handler offense, but that was just a miscue on the throw. And they've coughed up the disc. Tom Sudhaus unable to get underneath it. And that's a big put up.
Oh! Huge bid.
Huge bid. I didn't get a good look at who that was.
It was Toe from the Singaporean team. These two teams have numbers that are a little bit hard to read from a distance, so.
Yeah, it was number 94, Jonas Baumler, who made the bid for the German team. If I could offer the German uniform designers some advice, it would be to make the number on your shorts a little easier to read. The pinstripe design looks cool, but it's totally useless.
Same somewhat for the Singaporean team. Red on white is a little bit hard to read from a distance. Meanwhile, back to the actual action.
Marco Bonel through to Baumler. Baumler has uncorked one. He's looking for Dorothea Strain, and she's caught it right on the end zone line. Immediate dump. And a score. Tom Sudhaus with the assist. And again, I'm struggling to get a number.
45.
Number 45, Marie Jordan with the score. That was an excellent upwind put.
And we've had
from Baumler that really opened up that play, and the Germans now have scored 3 in a row. They're up 3-1.
We've had a timeout called, presumably by the Singaporean team. Fortunately, this is one of the few live streamed games that does not have game advisors on it. Unfortunately, as much as we'd love to have game advisors in every single game at Worlds, they are a rarity, so we usually end up assigning them to a couple of key fields. This one not being one due to be a playoff.
So a quick thanks to City Toyota in Netherlands. They have provided a bunch of vehicles to help us put together this event. You can imagine the logistics of an event of this size are pretty considerable. There's a lot of tents, a lot of staff, a lot of equipment to be moved around, and City Toyota have done a wonderful job in providing a number of vehicles for us to use to get the event set up, and it has worked superbly as we see a replay of that wonderful deep shot from Baumler that secured the score for Germany. Thanks again for that replay, City Toyota in Netherlands. If you're a Perth native and you're looking for a car, I can recommend a Toyota. I've got a Hilux myself.
Meanwhile, I'm a Suzuki Swift driver.
Little buzz box.
Yep, love the buzz box.
So if you're looking for a Toyota, get down to City Toyota in Netherlands. They're just down the road from this event, and we thank them again. So Singaporeans, after an absolutely perfect start to this 5-6 playoff, have suffered something of an early match collapse following that, and the Germans have managed to take control of this match. They've scored 3 goals in a row. Let's see what the Singaporeans can do. Of course, the disadvantage for them now, having given up that downwind offensive point, they've now got a much tougher task of scoring moving upwind.
Indeed. The wind coming and going, making it quite unpredictable, and a throw that will work in one point is not going to work in the next, so players have to be so mindful of what's happening at the time. We have a very deep pool that rolls out. This time will be taken from the front of the end zone.
So we've got 4 women on the field for each team in this point. There is a gender end zone each half, where the team at that end zone has the choice to choose between 4 women or 4 men on the field. And it can be a strategic game to outfox your opposition and give yourself an advantage based on the matchups that your team has available against the opposing team's players. And there we see it, the German women, number 21, Saskia Ducho with a D. Oh! Huge layout D in return.
That was
number 99, I think, Shua Bunhui.
And the Singaporean defensive line gets another turn to strike. Oh, and no call being made. Looks like it just slipped out of his hands rather than getting a D from Jordan.
So Jonas Beck with a nice cross-field flick that opens up a lot of lateral space. Moritz Hartig shoots end zone, but it's down. So the Germans will set up their zone again, and Singapore will try to find a way through it.
Hopefully we can see a repeat of the patient offense we saw a couple of points ago, where this similar line to this one here worked through with about 50 passes, almost scored. But hopefully this time they can convert.
So the Germans are in a different look this time. They're now forcing heavily one way towards the far sideline, and they've got a 3-person cup arranged around that.
And we've got a call.
So uncontested foul by the looks.
Yep. Just gonna tap back in. Tip tapped. Singaporeans finding a gap through the zone. Oh! And the hands of Jordan getting on that one. Germans get another chance to score downwind.
So here we go. Hartig again. He took a shot to the end zone earlier that missed. He dumps to Jacobson. And Hartig again with an errant throw. Nearly brought down by Andreas Huber, but wasn't to be. And again, Singapore in control of the disc.
Oh, and we get an early huck, but that is coming right over our camera.
So when you're going to huck upwind, you need to send a very, very, very stable disc up, and that one curled from an inside out to an outside in very quickly. Jacobson working with Jonas Beck. They're going to share the disc around until they see an opening that they like. Beck's got one now. And a bit of a misread from Huber, his intended target.
Yes, that one just floated right over his head there. Singapore resetting again. Oh, and we get an early huck from Yi Hong. Receiver, Boon Hui, unable to reel it in.
Yeah, great D from Beck. He read that early and elevated himself to get the D as Jacobson launches to the end zone. Oh! Looks like a call. There was a reasonable degree. Yep, we have a foul call. Thank you for the use of hand signals. There did look to be a reasonable amount of contact on that. Yeah, on the replay, that looks a pretty legitimate foul call to me. The Singaporean defender did a good job to try to get up to that disc. Unfortunately, he caused a fair bit of contact as the disc arrived. So let's see if the players are able to come to a resolution. As Katie said, we don't have an unlimited supply of game advisors at this event. They're a relatively new addition to the Woof Doof scene, and we are training up many of them as we go. And so this game, without a game advisor, looks like a contested foul has been reached. And the players have done well to resolve that pretty quickly. As I say, on replay looked to me a relatively clear foul, but that's not always obvious to the players involved. So contesting it and sending it back, this stays in the hands of the Germans, seems like a reasonable outcome to me, Katie.
Yep, I agree. And that's the great thing about the rules of Ultimate, is that if you can't decide on the outcome of a play, it just goes back as if it never happened. This goal is not in.
Straddling the line there was Jacobson. And her throw, oh! So Jonas Beck had 2 bites at the cherry there and didn't hit either of them, as we see another upwind huck. Oh wow. The Singaporean player.
Oh, there has been a
do we have a call?
made.
Yeah, the Singaporeans were waving from the sideline as though there'd been a call, but there hadn't been. So I think with a quick disc check, we should be back in play. And there we go. Well done.
These players utilising their use and knowledge of the rules.
So Foster and Beck, those two have shared the disc around a lot in this German backfield. And first a miss. Misses her intended target, Marae Jordan. And the Singaporeans again, who have had much less success breaking through this second German zone look. Let's see what they can do. They're going to need to use their feet more than they are right now, though. That's a nice scuba over the top.
That was a delicious scuba. I would eat that up. As did Yi Hong when he caught it. Oh, he's struggling to get the disc off. Overthrows.
And a good bid.
Has receiver Juliet Tan unable to reel that one in. Goes for a run, gets on defense. Germans with another chance to extend their lead.
So Jonas Beck again. That's a nice little flick into the space behind the initial cuts, and Marae Jordan scores the goal. So the German machine rolls on. They went down a break to start this match, and since then they have put up a pretty stellar performance, and they're now up 4-1.
Indeed. They're looking quite solid.
So Singapore, to me, needs to do something different to break through this zone. Their downfield cutters looked pretty static, and they're going to need to do something more than that if they're going to win this game. So it might be time to try something different. Hucking it upwind into a much taller German defensive downfield is probably not going to be enough. You wouldn't think?
No. Shout out to everyone on the stream who's tuning in. Let us know if you've got any questions or any shout-outs you want to give. Definitely less chitter-chatter in this one in comparison to some of the banter in the US-Canada game.
Canada.
Those North Americans love their battle.
Absolutely, as you say, Germany, Singapore, not a traditional ultimate rivalry, and perhaps this could be the beginning of something for them. The Germans have set up their zone. It is... Oh, what a grab!
Great hands there from Ng. He dumps it off. Singapore gaining significant ground from that huck. And Singapore have scored! Hishan Jamie with the disc.
That was a pretty good long huck, given that the German Pommy zone had prevented any movement back in the handler position. The stall count was rising, and the Singaporean handler elected to punt it. And yeah, phenomenal catch. So, Pei Shan, the receiver. And the Singaporeans finally registered their second point for the game. They're down 4-2 against the Germans. And as we said, this is the last game of the tournament for these two teams. The winner with the honour of finishing on an odd number. They will take 5th place. As we see, the workload has taken its toll. I think that's a member of our crew taking a well-earned rest. The Ulti TV crew has been working hard this entire tournament to bring you as many games as we possibly can. And a couple of pretty exhausted bodies and minds now. As we see the Germans bringing out their offense. It's Arne Erhorn, starting with the disc. Singaporeans playing that zone again. Meg Goldbusch, she clearly one of the German handlers tasked with moving this disc around. Nice look through the middle. Erhorn again to Goldbusch. Oh, it's a bit of a bobble, but she's managed to scoop up the candy. So the Singaporeans set up in what we would typically call a pommy or a fence. So they have one player on the mark and then 3 arranged behind them, trying to create a barrier. But the Germans have found a way through, and they're very close to the end zone now. That was a straddle. And as so often happens, you do all the hard work and just get a little bit too keen right at the death. And that very last throw beyond the reach of the receiver, and it's a turnover.
Germans having plenty of time to set up their zone here. Just going quite far out. And Singapore's in the hook. Oh, that is a pie and a half. The bakery is open.
Oh,
what a grab from Lee. Fantastic. And he calls a timeout. Good choice, I think.
So Jonas Baumler, unhappy with himself. He was in the box seat to take the D on that huck, and just, I think, lost the disc for a moment.
Let's see a replay of that.
To get inside. As you said, Katie, that was a real piece of pie. Floated up there for ages.
Yep.
So the Singaporeans happy with their progress. The 7 that are on the field are discussing tactics. The rest of the team giving them some encouragement, bit of clapping and dancing. And we'd like to say thanks to Coles Supermarket in Subiaco for all your support. It's a new store down there in Subiaco, so if you're from Perth and you're in the Subiaco area, please head down to Coles. They have generously provided us with a bunch of funding to run this event. Of course, a World Championship, bringing in people from all over the world, game advisors, officials, and costs a lot of money to put on an event like this, and Coles have been kind enough to help us out. So thanks, Coles. Get down to the Subiaco store if you're nearby.
Thanks for that, Cole. I'm sure Coles team love you and your name reference. We have Singapore City up in an interesting offense look.
Yeah, it looks pretty messy ahead of the disc. I wouldn't describe that as a common offensive look.
No.
When you're staring at the end zone. So maybe they've got a set play they're about to throw.
It's almost like a V look.
I have no idea what's going to happen.
Me neither.
Everybody in front of the disc. There's no reset handler at this point.
Perhaps the player to the northwest of Lee is going to be there as a swing and then cutting deep as well. Let's see. We get the reset to Tan. And there's been a pick. No surprises with that crowded space. Sharma coming out as his dump. They're cutting into the space. Oh! And Singapore cram it in the cram hole. They get the job done.
That was a very tight hole to put the disc through, and the German defender with a wonderful layout bid attempt, and he's a bit slow to get up. Looked like it hurt him a bit when he hit the ground. And correct me if I'm wrong, but that's a break for Singapore.
It is indeed.
So 4 goals to Germany, 3 to Singapore. And both teams proving now that they're capable of pushing their opponent, getting the disc off them, and converting on D.
I would be interested to have a chat to the Singaporean coach about that set play, and the end zone there was a very interesting offensive structure that they set up.
Indeed. Not one that I've seen before.
No. It sort
seemed to work in the end.
It worked, exactly. It kind of looked like a V, and that they had the player to the right at the front being the first to move, which I wouldn't have expected. I was calling that the player in the front on the left would be one to cut into the open space, whether it be as a swing or a round throw.
Yeah, typically offensive structures in Ultimate designed to create space to work into. But, of course, the Singaporeans, being one of the shorter statured teams, often do things a little differently. So let's not begrudge them for doing something different. It certainly worked for them in that case.
No begrudgement at all. I'm just curious. Things we could take and learn here in Australia.
So Beck and Hartig moving the disc around, cross per Keelstone. Singaporeans still running their zone as we see a look up the line. And now Marco Bernal uncorks one over the top. And Ellen Jacobson actually unimpeded by the defender there. I think his movement managed to just put her off and she was unable to make the catch.
Oh, we're going to early flick up. And with 2 Singaporean receivers, neither of them catch it. Bit of miscommunication there.
Yeah, hand block, I think, when that throw went up.
Oh!
And great D. Wonderful stuff, well read.
That was a great D there. That came from Hui.
And they've shot deep. It's gotten over the top of Beck. And the Singaporeans make no mistake. They score.
Oh, but there has been a call.
Oh, travel call on the throw. So presumably that was on the long throw that went up.
I would say so, considering the players downfield have stopped.
So in theory now, as we take a look, on the replay, it didn't look like a lot in it, perhaps talking about dragging the back foot on release. So in theory, everybody should be back where they were when the throw went up, and he's elected to send it again.
Looks like the wind's going to push this
And
one.
the wind, just pushing it out of field, and Jonas Beck giving it the last bit of help that it needed.
Singapore sitting up in their zone again.
Nice D from the Singaporean, James Poe.
Singapore trapped on that far sideline. Oh, and we get another flick out. German hands on it this time. Cannot be reeled in by Singapore.
So I think Singapore have talked about the wind, and they've decided that anytime they're in possession going downwind, they are going to huck it for yards. And so far, anytime they've had the disc short of half field, they've punted it. Basically, even when they don't have a particularly open option downfield.
Not electing to do that this time, though.
So German offense. Bonal sold a good fake there. I would have bought it. And he's thrown a thick huck directly to a Singaporean player.
Poe getting his hands on it. Considers his options. Sends it over the cup, but too far for the hands of Tiao. We have a Singapore German player, sorry, streaking long, but
so I think the disc has rolled out of play there. So
Oh.
Jonas Beck doing the right thing and taking it from the sideline. And he's put up a wonderful shot. Marco Bernal almost able to bring it down, but James Poe, who is one of Singapore's rare pieces of tall timber, did a great job and managed to spoil the party for the Germans. He's punted it. And this game devolving into a game of tennis.
Well, for yet another turn. Singapore with a chance to close out this point, get the triple break.
Germans setting up that familiar Pommy zone. That's a better look from Singapore. That's what they need, quick disc movement. Work the angles, move the disc laterally.
Poe finding a nice gap, swing round. Through to Tiao. Losing some ground, but getting a safe option. Dumping it off. Oh! And Tiao sends it. but red with such grace from Beck as he picks up.
So the Germans through Jacobson and Beck, who are two players seemingly entrusted to work the disc a lot. That's a nice look from Beck. He's found a big hole through the middle there. Hartig back to Beck. Beck's got Ellen Jacobson moving deep, and his crossfield blade.
James Poe walking up slowly, giving the Singaporean plenty of time to plan their cuts. He finds one very quickly. Tiao. To Lee. Lee on the sideline. Cramming it in. Great collection there from Hui. There's been a travel call, I believe. She taps back in. Oh, great inside break there.
Oh, that was a good D attempt.
Right in the doorstep. Oh, we have a player down though from the Germans.
Looks like Ellen Jacobson, their spirit captain. I didn't actually see what happened that led to her ending up on the backside.
Appears as though she is calling a foul on Jingi, one of the Singaporean offensive players. Bit of discussion going on. And the disc is about to be tapped back in. Dumped off. Really think about their options, Singapore here. They know they really need to get this break. Oh, with another player down.
Yeah, clash of knees there, I think, between those two players.
Singapore opting to swing, go with the safe dumps until they have a really safe inside option.
Yeah, got to admire their patience and decision-making here as they finally put it in. Bit of a bobble. She let out a little squeal as the disc got out of her hands, but eventually the goal.
And that was from, just waiting to see her number. I believe it is Chia Jingi.
Number 15, I think.
Yes.
Yep, Chia Jingi. So Singapore finally now doing what they need to do to beat this German zone. And they've turned it around. After taking an early break, they collapsed and Germany took 3 or 4 points in a row. Singapore now turning the tables again, and they've brought it up to 4 apiece. As we see this disc movement from the Singaporeans, and really they look their best when they take their time and choose their options, and that was a great bid from the German defender to try to cut that off, but it wasn't enough, and Jingyi gets on the scoreboard for Singapore.
Singapore now will want to be maintaining this lead, making sure the Germans can't grass it back off them.
So Baumler, the captain, he's playing a lot of points on offense. Sudhaus with him. Back to Sudhaus now. And the Singaporeans sticking with this zone. Why wouldn't you? It has forced quite a few turns at this point. They're happy to let the Germans go backwards. And hope that by forcing them to make a number of throws, they eventually force a turn in exactly the manner that's just occurred. No throw is 100%. There's always room for execution errors.
Oh,
Nicely towed in.
great deed there by Kevin Lee. Grab the line. Through to Sharma. Sharma sends a flick. Oh, and it bounces and bobbles. Singapore players can't read it. Germany gets another chance.
So, what can the Germans do here? This Singaporean zone seemingly not trying to force turnovers so much as just force a lot of throws. And they're hoping that the wind or a simple execution error will be the thing to upset the Germans. So far, that's tended to work pretty well.
I think it's been what's worked for both teams, forcing the risky options. Lots of errors, lots of throws to create errors.
Yeah, agreed. That's a nice look through the middle. Now the Germans are away, and of course, as I say that,
Commentator's curse.
Tom Sudhaus underestimated Meg Goldbutcher's height by about 3 feet, and the Singaporeans are hucking for yards. Certainly not for possession, that was miles away. Oh, phenomenal bid. Saskia Ducho put the body on the line to try to secure that disc. The throw was coming in at 1,000,000 miles an hour from Baumler, and he raises his hand to apologize to her. He realizes that was an almost uncatchable throw, and she nearly made it look very good.
Yeah, she did. If she caught that, that would have been highlight reel for sure. There's Tan walking the disc up. He finds an early deep option. Can they get there? I think not. Germany getting hands on it first.
So again, Singapore's D-line strategy appears to be force a turn and then huck it. As Germany looks end zone and over the top. Must be said, the wind not as bad at the moment as it has been for much of this tournament. It's definitely consistently blowing right to left of screen at the moment. And nice D. That was Ducho again. She's gotten horizontal a couple of times at this point.
Yeah. So I love to see. More layouts than a Hawaiian Kentucky tour.
And a shot to the end zone, and it's a score. Jonas Baumler was the shooter.
Germany have managed to comfortably maintain that point, edge ahead of Singapore, 5-4.
I think it might have been, yeah, it was Marlene Mueller, the receiver, who found an open space. She could wait for that disc, and the Germans are up now 5-4.
Singapore is one of the more developed ultimate countries in Asia, with the exception of powerhouse Japan. And they traditionally tend to play a bit more mixed and men's, but there's been a real resurgence of the women's game.
Absolutely.
Recently with the club Huck, I believe they're called.
No, Havoc.
Oh, Havoc. There we go. Got my H's wrong. Huck is a Japanese club. Yes.
Yeah, Havoc. Only a year old as a club now, the standalone women's club in Singapore. And at the recent AOU GCC titles, Asia Oceanics, Havoc made the final, and we're up against Huck, actually, now that you mention it.
The double H's.
And they acquitted themselves extremely well. It was a seriously impressive performance. So Singapore in ultimate, definitely on the rise. Their men's counterparts, Crackerjack, also made the final at AOU GCC. And also went down to a Japanese team, Nomadic Tribe.
Singapore, the country to watch. We have some future superstars, current superstars of Singaporean Ultimate right here, right now. Though, commentator's curse, unfortunate timing, a cold drop from Singapore.
And we have a lefty backhand huck to Height. Didn't get his gecko gloves on.
No, Height doesn't teach you how to catch, though.
No, unfortunately not. So Wiedenroth there was the intended receiver.
You can't teach Height, but you can teach somebody how to catch.
So Singapore again, wow, that thrower is demonstrating incredible flexibility. Number 99, Katie.
Bunhui.
Bunhui. His low release throws are a sight to behold.
Great crossfield movement there. Just inside line with toe. Through to Sue. Back to Bunhui. That key handler on the offensive line. Oh, fortunately we had a drop from toe. This wind making it difficult to get your mitts on the gloves.
Yeah, the wind gust really picked up right at the moment as he was releasing that throw, unfortunately, as Voss, the lefty on the German team. And he's not able to connect with Wunderlich and the Singaporeans with another opportunity.
Singapore want to punch this one in to make sure they stay in parity with Germany. Some swift movement here for the handlers. Yu Hong and Boon Hui. Working with Cynthia Chia. If there's anybody at home in Singapore watching the stream, I believe you're in the same time zone as us. Hope you're enjoying your afternoon in Singapore. Let us know if you're here. Movement round. Boon Hui indicating where he wants his cutters to go. Oh, great inside throw. So,
far out.
Yeah, Gitu just tumbling with that one. A great grab.
I am seriously gobsmacked by the throws that Shua Bunhui has at his disposal and the flexibility of the lower half of his body too. He's able to get properly low.
He needs to give us some flexibility lessons. Maybe he was a former gymnast.
He's putting on a clinic here. This is sensational to watch.
Loving it. Toe with the discus sideline. Dumping off to Yi Hong. Swinging it round. Being cautious, patient. Getting nice and low. Utilising Boon Hui's small frame and flexibility.
And there he goes.
There it is.
That is impressive.
Toe with the catch.
He must have a seriously strong right quad muscle as well, because he's doing single leg squats here all day with these pivots. Look at the low release here.
Fantastic. That is just a demonstration of how ultimate can be played by people of all statues and all body types.
Absolutely.
Boon
Chua
Hui.
Boon Hui. That is entertaining to watch. And I'm not going to try to copy him, lest I snap myself in half.
I was just going to say, Chua should come see us after the game and teach us small players here some lessons on how to be really low and flexible, because
Yes.
we ain't going to get those pack grabs the same way some of the other Aussies can.
So, Singapore drawing level again, and the Germans started this game on offense, so despite the fact that we've had many, many breaks each way, the teams are effectively trading. But I do think, in fact, that they've scored more on defense than they have on offense, as we see a flick pull into the wind. Again, not a common strategy, you would see.
We've just been told in the stream that Hui Fang should be in the commentary booth. If they're here, tell them to come see us, and we'll let some guest commentary join us potentially, or even a sideline interview with some insight into the Singaporean team.
Absolutely. Hui Fang is an absolute treasure of Singaporean Ultimate. She organised the Pan-Pacific titles that featured the Australian, Singaporean and Japanese under-24s teams in competition with each other in preparation with this event. And she's coming to my wedding in a month and a half, so that'll be fun. So Fang, if you're out there, come say hi.
Shout out to Cole Fink for getting married. Did not know.
Oh, you didn't? There you go.
Gonna make some more Phillips babies, eh?
Yeah. I've picked a partner to make my kids tall. And I'm told it's pretty baller if your wife is taller than you. And mine is going to be much taller than me. So there you go. All right, back to the game. And the wind is under that one. Oh, the scrap's picked up by Kielstein, who shoots to the end zone. And the German tall timber able to bring that in. I think that was Sudhouse with the goal from Kielstein.
Shout out to Christopher Smudo, a German in New Zealand watching this match. Kia ora, guten Tag to you.
Just managed to mix up Māori and German
I
there.
did.
That's pretty smooth, not bad. So, Jasper Kielstein picking up the scraps from that errant backhand from Levki Wolchak, the captain of this team, one of the captains of this team. Wolchak and Baumler sharing responsibilities. And we also have two spirit captains on the German team, Ellen Jacobson and Meg Goldbuch. You can see the wind blowing across field here with a chip packet. Make its way across.
Hopefully nobody slips on it. Oh, the pull reaching the feet of toe. And our entertaining favourite, Tua Buntui, back on the field with his ridiculously low throws. And that was a ridiculously great low grab.
This is worth the price of admission to see this alone. He is slicing this German zone to pieces, and they don't really know what to do with it. The zone composed of players who are well over 6 feet tall, and we've got a stall-out call here. Either way, it's going to be a turnover. Question being, does it occur where Bunhui is standing or where his throw hit the grass? And good shake of the hands. They've agreed to leave the disc where it is.
Great demonstration of spirit there. Germans get a crack to extend their lead.
Nice dump pass there from Voss as they send one deep. And the Singaporeans macked it for a moment. I thought maybe Andreas Huber was going to get a second look at that, but they've successfully got it down to the ground.
Kenneth Su said, not today. Not today, Germany.
So the German Pommy set up once again. And we've seen a deep look. Picked off by Beck.
And a goal is called.
And the goal is scored by Lucas Wunderlich. He was chasing down a flick that had gone a little bit further than intended, and it actually drew him all the way into the end zone for the score. So Germany now finally consolidating a lead. And they are at 7-5 over Singapore with that break.
And a timeout appears to have been called. The German team huddling together. Getting people on the line ready just in case, but meanwhile the Singaporean team standing around having a chat. There's a bit of discussion between the two teams.
We'll take the opportunity to thank STA Travel. They are our domestic travel partner here at the World Under-24 Ultimate Championships. And STA Travel would love to help you with all your travel needs. So if you're traveling around Australia, looking to see the sights, get yourself down to STA and they will hook you up.
Can confirm from past experience, very helpful.
So Singaporeans now having to work the disc upwind, and if they're unable to halt the German defence and the Germans are able to punch it back in the other way, that'll take us to half-time.
Indeed it will. Ultimate is an interesting game in that respect, where halftime is never at a specific time on the clock, instead being when one team gets to 8 points. That being said, when it's a game of a point cap of 15, which most WIFTF events and Australian events are, there's some tournaments in the world, though, that use different point caps of either 13 or 17. So the half time varies accordingly. Back into this game, though. We have our favourite, Boon Hui, on the disc for this upwinder. Not supposed to show favouritism, but I want to call him Ninja. He's just so sneaky on the ground there, getting around those German legs and finding beautiful holes like that. He finds Sue. He's working really lovingly with Tan. Made some great movement there. Back to Yi Hong. Thinks about his options. German zone looking a little bit looser at this point. It's not preventing the Singaporeans from being pushed backwards on the field, though.
So the Germans now have still got their zone set up, and it looks to me like they might be choosing to assassinate Boon Hui.
Yeah.
Nope, they've let him go. He's open again. So one of the strategies that you can employ in a zone is to play zone against the team with the exception of a single player who you play a matchup one-on-one defender on. It's called assassinating, and the idea is if there's a single player who's really driving the offense, you try to tag them out of the game. And at this point, I'd be thinking about doing that to Boon Hui if I was the Germans. He is a phenom.
And I think it's working as well. The Singaporeans really struggling to get movement up the field here. He's been really patient with it, though, using the full width of the field, but they've lost significant yardage by being pushed back here. Swing it around to Tan. Finds a hole.
Nice look.
Great look. Moving it through. Boon Hui recognising what they've done and sitting out on the wing instead. Electing to let his other players play in the hand the combination. Tan telling him to go deeper. Tan and Yi Hong swinging the disc around each other. Assistance of Chia. Just being really patient here, making good, cautious decisions. Boon Hui popping in the cup, seeing if he can get in the action, and he does. Ninja's back. But struggles to get some forward momentum. So dumps it back to Yi Hong.
German zone doing a good job of forcing a lot of throws here, and that was close to the sideline.
It's very close. So just towing it in. His momentum taking him outwards, but because his first point of contact with the ground was in the field, he keeps possession.
Wind picking up here. The Singaporeans have a player wide open in the end zone, but I just don't think anybody could throw it that far in time.
They probably just don't want to risk it, which is a good, cautious decision. They're opting to be nice, safe, patient, and moving through a lot of shorter passes and finding holes when they can. Unsuccessfully assassinating Boon Hui now. He's just working through that zone, working with Yi Hong. Just finds Chia on the far sideline.
The Singaporeans have thrown a phenomenal number of passes without an error, and short passes are more dangerous than they look. They often have very little rotation on the disc, which means it's unstable. It's easy to bobble it. And they need to be careful not to do a handoff, which looked to happen in the Japanese v America women's game the other day. There's no minimum distance that a pass has to travel, and finally a mistake made. That was a bit of a push pass into the wind, and it's failed. Yeah, there's no minimum distance that a disc has to travel, but it can't travel zero distance. You have to let go before your receiver touches the disc.
Exactly. It's Ultimate does have some elements of netball, which is a sport which is quite popular here in Australia and some other Commonwealth countries such as New Zealand and the UK. But one of the things in netball is that you must pass the ball at least 1 metre, otherwise it's a short pass. But that does not apply to Frisbee.
No, in fact, in Frisbee, it's legal for one person to have their hands in the pancake catch around the disc while the other person lets go, and that'll do it. So Singapore, again, hucking for yards, and
it worked because they've definitely gained some yards with that German turnover. Yi Hong, sorry, picking up the disc. Boon Hui coming up the wing, electing that as a safer position whilst Assassination is on. Allowing his other players the opportunity to handle. With that combination of Chia, Yi Hong, and Tan again. The other players still being active. Oh, and we get a
Scoob and connected.
Yep, Sue.
Sue throws the Scoob.
No, Sue receives the Scoob.
Oh.
And we get a blade around, but just does not sit right. Boon Hui doesn't have every single trick in his bag, apparently. Germany with another chance at offense.
So Levin Wiedenroth has just sent himself to the end zone, the deep space, and why wouldn't you when you're as tall as he is? And the Germans moving it down the far sideline, and a drop there from Jana Baumgart. I think she spent that one before she had it. She was thinking about the next move before she secured possession of the disc. So Boon Hui to bring it back in play.
Great movement here from Singapore, but there has been a call on the throw.
Presumably a travel call, although it looks like it may have been retracted. Seemingly the Germans happy with the disc to stay where it is. So after a short discussion, we're back in play, well resolved. And the Singaporeans continuing to work their way upwind here.
Tan with the disc. They gain some momentum. Oh, and he puts a flick around. Oh, almost reaches Boon Hui, but he just can't get his mitts on that one. Very difficult for her to catch.
So the Germans again, undoing all the work the Singaporeans did to move that disc upfield. Wiedenroth with the disc. Wiedenroth's had enough of handling. He's gone deep. And the disc is coming to him, but not through Juliet Tan. She saw that coming and cut it off. Nicely done.
Great hands from Tan.
So this point starting to develop into a bit of a marathon. You'd have to think the players on field at the moment would be starting to get tired.
Singapore with their patient offense hoping to tire out the Germans. Boon Hui with a nice low throw, finds Chia. Thinks about her options. She dumps off. Swings around to Tan. Through to Chow. Chow, reasonably tall player for a Singaporean woman. Her height being of use here. Tan on this nearest sideline. Thinking about his options. Boon Hui wants it. Knows he can't. Oh, but he does. Is he going to ninja this one through? And he does. He ninjas it down the sideline.
Great
almost
throw.
In. Kenneth Sue on the doorstep. Lots of clutter space. Round to Boon Hui. What magic can he throw now? What can the ninja do?
I was hoping for a nutmeg there, a throw through the legs.
No, he takes the safe option, gives it to Yi Hong. Back to Chia. Great safe hands with her.
Big swing on.
Singapore being so patient and considered in their offense. There's so much to learn from this. And there is a goal. Singapore finally put that one in the bank. It is Juliet Tan with the goal, with the double happiness.
That's right, she did get the block at the other end, cutting off a deep look to Wiedenroth. And Juliet Tan will be happy with that point. And the Singaporeans with a critical upwind hold there, bringing the score to 6-7. And the Germans now with the breeze working against them for the most part, as they try to take this game to half-time. And this has been quite a contest.
It has.
The Singaporeans have found a way to play that works for them. And the Germans haven't yet really been able to utilise their height.
No, No, they have not. And it's interesting, you generally feel like if a team is holding possession for that long, you generally in your head, you think that they're going to be ahead, but Singapore is still behind. But I think they've been playing the slow game, and that's the reason why. Like they have been just a prime example of cautious, considered, short field offense.
Yep, totally agree, Katie.
I'd love to see more of that played in Australia.
Yes, Australia tends to be a kind of bomb-it style offense. People like to jack it in the Aussie style. So,
cool. I think the German player just stood on the foot of her mark. All sorted now though. Back into play.
Nice little lefty backhand through the gap there. Another one. Lefty backhands all day. Oh, another great D.
Great D from Pishan.
So the Singaporean women are contributing on the defensive side of the disc a great deal at the moment. Oh. And not able to secure it.
Just bouncing off the hands there of Yazid.
So Baumler finds a good look through the middle to Steen. And Stoodhouse all the way back to Walchak. Walchak with a heavily strapped shoulder. Doesn't seem to be affecting her throws though. She's getting plenty of wrist snap. And that one's gonna sit up. Oh, expertly recovered by Jonas Baumler. He most certainly was not the intended receiver. And Walchak has thrown a goal. And the Germans take half, 8 goals to 6. In the end, just a single break being the difference, even though I think the Germans took 4 breaks off the Singaporeans, and the Singaporeans took 3 off the Germans. And now the Germans have gotten themselves to halftime in the lead. They're currently in control of this match, 8 goals to 6.
70 minutes into this game, meaning that we're just under 30 minutes away from time cap. I doubt we're going to see a game to 15 points, Cole.
No, it doesn't look like it, Katie. I think the wind certainly slowing this game down. We saw a number of long points with plenty of turnovers. So perhaps the final score here might top out at 12 or 13, perhaps.
I know myself, I've seen games that have, of 100-minute length, have still only reached a score of about 8 or so, purely just because of the wind being so ridiculous. It's been ridiculously long in turn.
And on the other side of the coin, we have seen some extremely long games as well. As we see a look at some of the scores here from the first half. So it's 7 minutes to halftime. We'll leave you with a highlights package from the first half. And we'll see you back again here for the second half of Singapore versus Germany in the 5-6 playoff in the mixed division very soon.
Cool. Feed my ego till it's full. Ay, y'all hysterical. You don't want to see the truth. Ay, I'm already cool. Feed my ego till it's full. Ay, y'all hysterical. You don't want to see the truth. Ay, I'm already cool. Feed my ego till it's full. Ay, y'all hysterical. You don't want to see the truth. Ay, I'm already cool. Feed my ego till it's full. Ay, y'all hysterical. You don't want to see the truth.
Welcome back to the second half of this 5-6 playoff between Singapore and Germany. Germany started the match on offense, but Singapore was able to take the first break from them. And then we saw a number of breaks each way. Eventually, the Germans registering one more break than the Singaporeans, and they took half 8-6. So Singapore now starting on offense and going downwind. We're in a pretty stiff breeze. It's going right to left on your screen. And it's played havoc with some of the throws. And both teams playing almost exclusively zone defense, which has given us an opportunity to see the phenomenal Chua Bun Hui in action, number 99 for the Singaporeans. One of the most entertaining throwers I've seen. Oh, wow, that's a good look through the middle.
That was a great grab there by Levin Lin, the spirit captain of Singapore, gaining great distance for Singapore. Singapore demonstrating their great offensive structures, just working so slowly through these zones with so many passes, not taking the risky long options that often. And again, they find another hole. Singapore just a couple of meters out of the end zone, looking very crowded at the moment. They'll probably opt to try and get off the sideline if they can, but they don't need to do that. They cram it in the cram hole once again. Singapore inch a little bit closer to Germany.
Yeah, they're absolutely experts at the tiny dishy pass through the zone. So often we would see those little dishy passes resulting in a turnover at some point, either when a defender gets a hand in or simply the disc is bobbled because it doesn't have any rotation on it and it's a bit unstable. And the Singaporeans, for me, much more consistent than most players I've seen at knowing when to throw it and when to holster it. And they're really good at having crashes come through that cup and force the German defenders to move. And if they don't receive the disc, they open up a hole that the thrower then puts it through to another Singaporean. It's been pretty impressive. I think there's something to learn there for those of us who aren't as expert at moving through a zone. Interesting to see the Singaporeans work it through.
Definitely. I'd love to take a lesson in zone offense from the Singaporean team. Now we'll get a chance for the Germans to show their German-style zone offense.
So here they come through Wojcik, and she's got it to Erhorn, who is now faced with, oh, what a layout grab! And unfortunately, Moritz Hartig, who managed to lay out and grab that hammer. Upside down throws are a lot harder to catch single-handed than discs the right way up are. And unfortunately, he was that pumped up by his grab that his throw went awry. And that one's got a lot of air under it.
Oh!
Oh!
Almost reeled in by Lane Wan on the last bid, but she can't get to it.
So Jacobson now. That's a nicely measured pass over the top to Sudhaus, I believe it is. Hartig and Sudhaus. Scuba over the top. Lands in the lap of Wiedenroth. And the Germans have made good progress through the zone there. The Singaporeans running a straight fence across in front of the German throwers. Trying to force them to move the disc laterally. Throw a lot. And oh!
We get a kicking D from Kevin Lee.
Well, he has booted that disc into next week. Absolutely punted it. Typically not what you want to do on D is give the disc more air than it needs, because anytime you mack it and give it some air, that's an opportunity for someone to catch it.
Definitely.
And we see a highly speculative backhand huck upwind. Not a sensible choice, I wouldn't have said.
Garatan opened a bakery, but didn't stay open for long. Just one pie and it was done.
So the Germans, that's a nice look through the middle. That's Joanna Erdmann to Wiedenroth, and Wiedenroth now setting it back to his handlers, who are looking to pick away through this Singaporean fence. Nicely recovered by Walczak. And we've got a hand block. Walczak waving off any thought of a foul call.
Oh, yeah,
that was well read by Deepansh Sharma. Sounds like he might have some Indian heritage.
Yes.
Singapore, of course, an incredibly diverse country island city with people from many backgrounds.
Oh, what a grab! Benedict Ng, what a grab by him. A nice little roly-poly from Kevin Lee. Has to show Gemma Coleman from the Blue Bottles a thing or two.
Oh, it's a goal!
What a grab!
Under heavy
Fantastic
defensive
work.
pressure. Was that Elaine Wan, I think?
Yes.
And the Singaporeans have got back on level pegging here. They've broken the German offense upwind. And that's making this game pretty interesting, Katie.
It is. It's a relatively tight game, but it's one that could go either way, and not just because of the win, but because both teams are utilising vastly different strategies to get the disc down to their end zone.
Yep, and both teams have shown they're capable of some really clean, clinical frisbee, and both teams have also shown they're capable of some fairly questionable decision-making on occasion. So perhaps the winner of this contest will be the team that can keep their heads on straight and make good choices. So the Germans, they'll have Jonas Beck, their key O-line handler, at the back of this offensive structure. They're going to need to move it carefully upwind.
Singapore electing to put their offensive line on, but there's been a dropped pull.
Yeah, Maltevos, unfortunately. Doing the right thing. You always want to catch the pull if it's catchable, because not doing so gives the defense a lot more time to get down there and set up. And Voss, unfortunately, just a simple execution error at the crucial moment. And he's given the Singaporeans an extremely short field. As short as it can possibly be, I guess. They're going to be on the end zone line.
Pretty much.
And they have the opportunity to take the lead here.
They do. Good thing that Singapore put their offense line on. Dishes it off, finds a swing. Safe in the hands of Xiao Jingyi.
And the Singaporeans love it. And why wouldn't they? So Voss with an unfortunate drop. You'd like to see him get back on the next line. Anytime you make a simple mistake, you want the opportunity to redeem yourself. So hopefully he gets a chance to run back out there and show us what he's capable of.
Fingers crossed. And there was a couple of people asking in the stream when the bronze medal match is coming up. Stay tuned, because that will be up on your screens in 35 minutes. The bronze medal game in the mixed division between Canada and Australia. That'll be a cracker of a game. So stick around for some more quality ultimate. But we've got some great ultimate in front of us here as well, determining 5th place between Singapore and Germany. Not traditional powerhouses in ultimate, but definitely good contenders.
Yeah, they're both developing quickly and developing in really different ways. The Germans with that, trying to use the height that they have at their disposal, and the Singaporeans adopting something more similar to the Japanese style, quick movement. Though it's definitely got its own character, the Singaporean play style, and it's working well for them today. Hartig with the disc. He's back there with Huber. And another execution error. The Germans, I think, the pressure of the scoreboard starting to weigh on their minds.
Sharma with the disc, centering it to Lee. Dump it back off to Sharma. The defensive handlers of this team. Getting lots of disc movement. Oh, and that is a great layout bid from Germany. Fantastic work under pressure.
Yeah, that was a huge block. It came from Marlene Mueller, and she saved her team.
Oh my gosh!
Phenomenal.
What a bid from Abdullah, number 92.
And the Germans have uncorked a long one. It looks like it's going to sit. And it's actually sailed on the wind, and Marco Bernal unable to reel that one in.
Shout out to Nareni Abdullah, the Singaporean player who almost got the D on that point before. She shares a number with me. Fun fact.
It was a great read. She saw the huck coming and got up for the block, and
even with her small stature,
unfortunately the Mac landed in German hands.
Just been a bit of a discussion, perhaps a travel call. Just waiting for this to come back into play, and it does. Oh, we're going to huck up from Gareth Tan, swinging back around, and just picked up by a German player.
Yeah,
And
Julio Gers with the intercept there, and unfortunately then another execution error. So the Singaporeans clearly have agreed that they are going to huck this disc upwind, and Gers, despite not having eyeballs on that disc, able to affect the D.
Got some significant distance at least for the Singaporean team to force the Germans downfield more. The Germans, of course, having the wind in their favour.
Gers able to secure that disc after having a slip to start with, and then he's thrown a long shot. It wasn't sitting particularly flat, not an easy disc to catch, and Moritz Hartig couldn't secure it, and the Singaporeans, perhaps unsurprisingly, hucking it. That has been their play style when going upwind on D. If they get a hand on the disc, good travel call. That seemed reasonable to me. Mueller asking Sharma, I believe it is, to take a few steps back.
Yep.
And he's called a timeout. They're about 3 meters from the end zone.
Smart decision by Sharma. They want to extend their lead here, make sure that they're comfortably up over the Germans with less than 10 minutes until time cap. Good to see that Gareth Tan's huck came off strong that third time lucky, but I think that, like you said, Cole, that was the game plan. He had no dump, he had no swing. His options. Just going to get a clip of that.
So that is a massive, massive layout D from Marlene Mueller. That was a phenomenal block. Put that on your highlight reel, Marlene. That was a ripper.
That can go on her ultimate CV.
Indeed. So, thanks to our friends at the Spud Shed. They're a local fresh food market who provided plenty of fresh fruit and vegetables for us here at the event. Help feed our wonderful crew. We really appreciate it. We've been really well looked after as a team, and there are well over 100 volunteers and staff here at this event, putting on a show at this phenomenal UWA stadium. As we see again, that Mueller block. Phenomenal stuff. So thanks again, Spud Shed. Very much appreciated. And our team's break from timeout. The Singaporeans will set up on offense. Katie, looks like they're going for their cloggy V look that they did last time. And the Germans, I can almost guarantee you have never seen a setup like this before, so they'll need to decide how they're going to defend it.
Yes. It's the sort of thing that your traditional zones wouldn't really know where to set up, but it looks like they are still electing to go for their zone defense rather than a match. And it's been a violation. Player started moving before the disc was tapped in. German defender just confirming this is coming in, and it's live. Sharma swinging it off. So much clogginess here. Lee and Sharma just dumping through to each other, moving it round to Tan. Tan's got Abdullah on the side. Not usually a handler, but she's probably out to free up some space.
She's wide open out the side there.
She is indeed.
Although Mueller looked like maybe she was baiting that shot so that she could get another layout tee. Singaporeans playing what can only be described as dude ball right now.
They're right on that. I think it's because they don't have Chair on the line. She seems to be the strongest female handler.
Lefty backhand, and some debate as to whether that hit the ground. Marco Bernal got horizontal. Be nice to see some hand signals to let us know what the call is.
We may just have to ride it out until we can get it.
Fantastic. So we've seen there Jonas Beck. I think the call may have been a stall out, and Jonas Beck confirming that he saw the disc in flight before the T in 10. And again, fantastic spirit at World Championship level. As we see a miscommunication, and Beck is rewarded for his honesty. He picks up a D stat.
Sharma. Oh, but there has been a call.
There has been a call.
A pit call, but bit of discussion between the German and Singaporean players in the end zone. They're quite far away from the play though, so I don't think it has any impact. Miscommunication from the Germans there, putting the discount too low. The Singaporeans get another crack at extending their lead. Lee to pick up. Looks off Sharma. Let's go to Sharma anyway. But there has been a call, a stall out call on Lee.
Yeah, I think possibly the stall count's a little bit quick here. That didn't seem like 10 seconds to me.
We'll have our crew confirm for us later on, but in the meantime, Gears and Lee will have a discussion about this.
So what can often happen is the intensity of playing defense can get your heart rate up and your excitement up, and that can cause you to count a little quickly. They've agreed on a contested stall out, which will mean the disc is coming in on 8. So they have just 2 seconds to move the disc on. And Sharma managing to secure that. I think that's a fair outcome. Didn't seem like the full 10 seconds had elapsed to me.
Oh, the wind just taking that one. Oh, but we have a Singaporean player down. I think that may be Abdullah. She looks like she's been hit in the wrist. She holds it. Getting the team involved, bringing some ice. Get a replay of that D.
Yeah, it was a pretty rubbish throw, and oh, looks like she might have got a cleat on the back of her wrist. So in the first part of that contest, she fell down, and I think, unfortunately, Meg Goldbuch's boot might have come down on her wrist, and can confirm that is seriously painful.
Abdullah being subbed out by Anais Ang.
So the Germans able to substitute a player as well. The intent there being that if a player is substituted off due to an injury, their replacement is matched up by another player with fresh legs. And so Walchak takes the place of Goldbuch. And we have a disc check to put us back in play. And Beck will get the Germans moving on offense. Huber and Walchak back there with him. Walchak seemingly held together by accessories, and Beck has uncorked one. Will it sit? Oh!
Lee scrapes that one out. That's his. He's signing for the parcel instead.
Massive D. That was not just a good read of the disc, but a seriously good catch.
Sure. Singapore on that near sideline. The flick puck going up, but it's just curving. It's quite hard in that wind to get those flick-ups to sit up. Germany getting another crack, but there has been potentially a call. No, just the player on the sideline, just waving his arms around.
Oh, and Walchak felt like she needed to attack that disc, and it turned out the wind was going to bring it sailing across to her anyway. So the Singaporeans.
Great read there by Elaine Wan, but it just gets pushed out. Oh, we have Sharma on the ground. Injury call.
So Beck down there with Sharma. Hopefully Sharma's okay. He's had a really good impact on this game. He's been playing some good frizz. I don't think we have a foul call, just Sharma asking to take an injury sub. He's looking pretty unsteady, so I imagine perhaps an ankle or a foot. And Beck doing the right thing and assisting him from the ground. It's still a turnover. And Beck happy to stay on the ground. I think they're just confirming with Sharma that there's no foul call. Looks like Beck's indicating that even if it was a foul, the disc was going to be well out of play before Sharma would have a play on it. And so in that case, even if a foul is committed, if it doesn't affect a play that would have caused the turnover, then the turnover stands. So good spirit shown. Disc on the ground, and we need a ground tap from the nearest Singaporean to get us back underway. And Beck's going to pick up, taking the disc from the sideline.
Singapore back in their zone.
And Beck sending a big wide one over the top. Oh, Mueller has been sold an absolute rotter by the wind there. She was in the perfect position. And then the wind, which had been completely still for a moment, just picked up. And Beck's little floater pass sailed into next week.
Lee working through to Tiao, the captain. Puts a low one down. We have Tan.
Oh, I think he's lost a contact. I reckon Tan's lost a contact there.
Oh, no.
He certainly reacted strangely and then looked on the ground, and he's just sent a mega crossfield blade.
Oh, just too far for Ingfer Rillen.
So we've just heard the cry of time cap. That's 100 minutes. So this has proved to be a very low scoring affair indeed, Katie. I predicted 12 or 13 might be the top score, and in fact, it's only going to be 10 or 11. So if the Germans score here, we'll have a universe point game to 10. And if the Singaporeans score, we will have a game to 11.
This wind has started to really pick up now. It's going to make it tough for the Singaporeans to get upwind.
Now the issue for Beck, I'm pretty sure his flick huck did not come back in bounds.
Oh.
And in that case, the Singaporeans are going to be able to take it from their attacking end zone cone.
You're correct there. We're seeing it being run up.
That would give them a 2-point lead and match point to go. So that would put them in the box seat to take this out over Germany. And here they go. Too easy.
They get the job done. Singapore up 10-8. It's a game to 11.
So the German defense really caught napping there. I don't know what they were doing. If you're gonna give your opposition the disc at their end zone cone, you better make sure that the near side end zone is fully clogged with defenders, particularly in a wind like this where a shot over the top is likely to float away. And we see there number 71, Kevin Lee, with a quick and easy cut straight into the end zone. And the pass from Darren Teo made no mistake, set up for him perfectly. That gives Singapore a 10-8 lead in this game to 11. And this could be the final point of the tournament for these two teams. If the Singaporeans are able to punch it in.
quick shout out before we get into this final point, well, potentially final point, to Emma and Tom's. They've been fueling our huge volunteer workforce with their yummy sugar-free natural snacks and smoothies. I've been drinking many a smoothie myself.
Yeah, thanks Emma and Tom's. This won't be the last time I have an Emma and Tom smoothie. I'd never tried one before and I've loved them. So definitely going to add them to the list at home.
Singapore getting rowdy on the sideline to get their defensive line firing and ready for this point.
Indeed, they're in full voice. So let's see what the Germans can do. They've got to go upwind and it's sudden death, do or die now.
The wind's getting very gusty here.
Yeah, it's not doing them any favours, that's for sure. And the Singaporean zone making life just as difficult as it has done for most of this point, most of this match, rather. Maltevos with the disc, around to Walczak, and Walczak across to Sudhaus. The Germans have a player deep and the wind just dropped for a moment. I wonder if maybe they would be well advised to just launch a massive huck, because they've coughed it up short field and
Instead,
Singapore calling a timeout.
James Poe cleaning up the scraps of that. Taking a well-advised timeout to potentially set up that V structure and punch one downwind for Singapore to take the game.
So as we get towards the end of this tournament, I imagine many players here will be choosing to hang around and enjoy all that Perth has to offer. And HBF Stadium, which is just nearby here to the UWA fields, is offering some wonderful short-term memberships. So if you're in the area and looking for a gym, a place to keep yourself fit, maybe go for a swim, look after yourself, HBF Stadium has some great short-term deals for us and everybody involved, so get yourself down there, mention that you're a member of the Ultimate community and you're here for the World Under-24s Championships, and they will be happy to look after you. So, Katie, this could be it. The Singaporeans will come out and set up their own. I predict they're going to do that weird, messy V thing in front of the disc. And let's see if they can make something happen. No, it looked like something completely different this time. One thing's for sure, they need to stop moving soon so the Germans can set their defence.
Does definitely look like the V's coming out.
Yep.
It's just a oddly shaped V, but we have James Poe with the disc, with his two male handlers to either side of him, a couple metres up the field. The female receivers, plus a male receiver in the end zone. There's been a violation. Somebody moved before the disc was tapped in. Poe thinking about his options. Players definitely not as clogged as they have been in those previous stoppages. Movement here between Poe and Lee.
And miscommunication.
Singaporeans unable to capitalise. Germans instead setting a huge huck, and that's coming back. That's coming back 4 days. It's 2-on-1 though.
Oh, Tom Sudhaus read that well. And he's managed to clean up the scraps. They're right on the end zone line now. Lucas Wunderlich with the disc in hand. Back to Walczak. Walczak across to Jacobson. And they've struck to the end zone and scored, and they've kept this game alive.
Shout out to Tom Sudhaus with the D there. He understands the House of Soot. Just the Soot being an affectionate nickname that we give to big hucks here in Australia.
Yeah, you'll often hear at Australian Nationals, stall count rising, you'll hear someone yell, "Soot it!" That means huck it, jack it, punt it, boost it.
Send it long.
Send it long.
Now the Singaporeans, while having that 2-point lead here, 1-point lead here, they still need to work upwind if they want to get this game done and dusted here. If the Germans score, we're having a universe point game on our hands.
Indeed. Hate to show any bias, but at this point, I'd almost be happy to see the Germans score this, take us to Universe. That'd be an exciting way to finish this matchup.
It definitely would be, and it would just show the incredible closeness and intensity of this match. And it's the sort of thing, if you're going to lose your final game at a tournament like this,
go down swinging.
Go down
Universe.
swinging. Go down swinging. Go down Universe. As much as it's disappointing if you lose on Universe, that's as close as you can get to a win without winning.
Well, the best games of Frisbee are close games that you win, and in my opinion, the second best games in Frisbee are close games that you lose. Better than a blowout. We come here for competition, and these two teams have provided it for each other.
The ball going out of bounds on the full. Ninja Bunhui to pick up. Germans putting on a clunky zone look. We have Juliet Tan from Singapore, way open in deep space. But Singapore are likely to work it through their handlers, be really patient with the disc. Expect to see a lot of throws between Chia, Yi Hong and Boon Hui. Maybe some Gareth Tan as well, if he wants to get involved.
And Boon Hui doing what he does best, getting low, sending out some lasers. That's what we want to see.
Careful, consider movements here. Thinking about his options.
Fakes the hammer. Stall count's got to be getting up there now. Oh, nice.
Finds a gap through to Chia. Through to Tan. And Yi Hong. Just getting that casual movement. I think there's been a disc space or double team called. Singaporean players not afraid to chuck another player through that cup, making it very cluttered. They're still working up the line here.
Yeah, they've barely got it more than a couple of meters from this sideline, the majority of this point.
But they're working through those small spaces with such ease. Boon Hui will want to get low here, get it off that sideline. Oh, and he puts it up, puts a huge floaty flick.
Oh, well read.
Juliet
Beautifully
Tan.
well read.
She does her job as the receiver and receives with ease. Singapore finding more space now, but getting back onto that far sideline. I think this is
They're
it.
close now.
We're so close.
And they're in.
That's all they need.
That's the game.
All they need is a 30-centimetre pass to Chia, and that's game.
So the Singaporeans, they deserve it. It's got to be said. They've played some fantastic ultimate. The Germans come along with a big, tall team of athletes, and the Singaporeans with their zippy little movements. And they've showed that with a completely different play style and some offensive setups that I've never seen, they're capable of playing some really good Frisbee. And Boon Hui, the ninja, what a favourite for us. And they have taken this game out 11-9 to secure 5th place in this tournament. And congratulations too to the Germans. They've played well and they've secured themselves 6th position. Tune in very soon for the mixed matchup between Canada and Australia on the Woof Doof channel. Thanks for tuning in. From Katie Locke and Cole Fink, bye for now.
See you later, guys.